after that 2180, acute care services. And then we'll wrap up with Representative Gress on HB2001, behavioral health. Oh, and then one after that, 2027, will be our final. So there you go.
Madam Chair and members, House Bill 2179 establishes advertising restrictions and warning label requirements for marijuana establishments and nonprofit medical marijuana dispensaries effective July 1st, 2026. In addition, it prohibits a marijuana billboard advertisement from being placed within a 1,000 feet radius of a public park or playground, child care center, public or private school, substance abuse recovery facility, or church, and states that a person in violation of the billboard distance requirements has 30 days to comply upon notification by the Attorney General. Finally, the bill contains a Proposition 105 clause, and with that, I'm available for questions.
Members, any questions for Brooke? All right, here's where I get to explain this bill. So, House Bill 2179 establishes advertising restrictions, and I want to clarify it's advertising. Someone reached out to me for labeling, and that's for another day. That's a whole nother animal. So we're going to focus today in this bill on advertising. But warning label requirements also are included in this bill for marijuana products containing THC, intoxicating cannabinoids, and marijuana paraphernalia to protect Arizona children. At the bottom of the, at the end of the day, this is about protecting our children. This bill is supported by Arizona pediatricians, other healthcare professionals, public health experts, and child welfare proponents. I myself, as a nurse in the ER and the ICU, have seen accidental poisonings by these agents, causing a child to have to go on a ventilator, and for some, they forever lose vital organ function, if not death. This bill is not, I want to clarify, not about a turf war between marijuana and hemp. So for those speakers that are going to come up, I'm just prefacing that. The goal of this bill is to create a regulatory structure that is enforceable so our children are not exposed to these products. It's about exposure. I would hope that this is something upon which we could all agree. Last year, this committee unanimously supported similar legislation. In fact, Speaker Montenegro, House Bill 2451 was the sponsor of this bill last year. House Bill 2179 today includes the provisions of that bill and has additional protective components based on tobacco regulation, marijuana laws in other states, and the marketing of these substances to kids that is happening today. We have evidence. We have pictures. And with that, I'm asking you to support Protect Arizona's Children. And Mr. Vice Chair, I'm open to questions. Okay, seeing none. Mr. Vice Chair, do we have anyone signed in to speak?
First speaker, Gary Kirkeles.
The good doctor's been waiting patiently. I hope you don't have patients waiting for you back at work. Okay.
Thank you, Madam Chair and members of the committee. Back in prior to the 1930s, cigarette smoking was actually a niche market. It was guys in bowling alleys and mechanics shops.
Oh, wait,
sorry.
For the record, introduce yourself.
Sorry, I am Dr. Gary Kirkeles, a pediatrician. Okay. So smoking cigarettes was a niche market. The tobacco industry got very smart and decided to advertise and direct their advertisements toward children, which is a very smart move because you can intercept children younger and have lifelong clients. As a result, we saw advertisements of Santa Claus, Camel Joe, other cartoons smoking cigarettes. We saw advertisements of high school seniors in their cap and gown smoking cigarettes. And as a result, youth smoking exploded. We got smart a couple decades later and said, okay, no more cartoon smoking cigarettes, no more advertising near schools, no more targeting children. And youth smoking rates declined. But unfortunately, here in 2025, we have repeated history. But this time with a different smoked item, the cannabis plant. And as a result, we're seeing the same type of youth targeting advertisements. Here is a picture on the 202 freeway, which I took myself, of a Santa Claus smoking a blunt. This is not doctored. This is what I saw on the 202 freeway. And this happens every December. It's not only dispensaries that are doing this. Vape shops, head shops, smoke shops are also doing this. This is a picture of a Santa Claus holding a water bong saying Santa knows where to get his dopest gifts. And since it's 2025, we also have to think about social media. So Cookies Dispensary in Tempe, they do similar things. February's coming up next month, Valentine's Day, so they depict a cookie smoking a joint. This is going on. This is not something that's a made-up concern. I understand that Businesses will advertise. That's no problem of mine. I'm laissez-faire. Adults can do what they want to do. But I have absolutely no patience for someone targeting youth in their advertisements. You can advertise, but you do not need to use cartoons, and you do not need to target children. As a pediatrician, my only concern are children. And therefore, I ask you to support House Bill 2179. This is my 4th time appearing to all of you. I'm hoping this will be the last time. But again, I urge you to support this bill, and I am open to any questions. Thank you.
All right, members, it's your chance to ask questions. Don't leave the room in case we call you back. Last year, I believe you went into some of the gory details of what it's like to see a child in acute care and the tragedies, and we won't make you do that today, but we understand that is the case, so thank you. All right, Mr. Vice Chair, we have some more speakers.
Yes, next speaker is Samuel Richard.
Good afternoon, Madam Chair, members of the committee. Sam Richard here with Consilium Consulting on behalf of the Arizona Medical Association in support of the bill. We're very grateful for the sponsor, and in this case, the chair of the committee, to bring this much-needed legislation back to the chamber for a 4th time. Hopefully, 4th time is the charm. And you're going to hear from plenty of other technical experts. Happy to answer any specific questions that come up, and I'll be definitely here if you'd like to call me back up as well. I think the only issue with the bill that I'd like to point out on behalf of my 8-year-old and 5-year-old that I have at home is that Santa Claus is listed as a fictional character. That was a joke. But no, in a serious matter, as a father of children, this is an issue that is absolutely requiring of addressing, and Dr. Kirkless's work on the issue and the chair's bringing up the bill is absolutely necessary. So happy to support the bill on behalf of our member.
Any questions?
Madam
I see
Chair.
Representative Winiger, yes.
And this might be for Sam or it might be for you, because I know, Madam Chair, so I know the speaker ran this bill last year. I wasn't here. I was on sabbatical. But was there any resolution of, because I was just thinking about the constitutionality and whether the rules attorneys, anybody said that this is furthering the purpose of the, the Prop 105.
Madam Chair,
Yes,
Mr. Winiger, I think that there are some folks signed in from the Arizona Dispensaries Association who are better positioned to speak to that. However, I will say from my experience on the issue, Prop 207 was very clear that this is a substance in an adult use and recreational way that should be allowed for those 21 years and up, and I think that that's why you'll see the ADA in support of the bill.
Any other questions? All right, next speaker.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Timothy Sparling.
Madam Chair, members, Timothy Sparling with Sparling Law Group and Consulting on behalf of Arizona Normal. We speak in opposition of this bill in its current form. However, we are receptive to an amendment, primarily removing subsection A. I just want to point out a couple things first, that Arizona Normal understands the importance of protecting Arizona's children, and we are absolutely in agreement with provisions that protect our children to make sure that products that are meant for adults don't go to them, and we have these poisoning episodes. We also understand that the intent behind this bill may not be to drive a turf war between hemp and marijuana. However, we do feel that there is an unintended consequence here to further that issue. We have concerns about the breadth of this bill, and specifically breadth of the word promote. Without some sort of limiting definition in that bill, or without the removal of subsection A, promote can basically mean anything, to include offer for sale, simply putting something in a newspaper article, or anything like that. This not only has the effect of drawing in collateral markets within the control and the exclusive control of the marijuana industry, which is already concentrated, and thereby allowing them to control, industrial hemp products and any product that has any kind of trace amounts of THC in it, but also has First Amendment concerns. Specifically, again, what does it mean to promote? If this bill passes and someone in a local newspaper publishes an article talking about a marijuana product that they enjoyed, are they going to get hit with a $20,000 fine under this bill? Without some kind of limiting language or a total removal of subsection A, we believe the answer is yes. And so with that, Madam Chair, members, Arizona Normal is not opposed to this legislation in principle, but we think that it needs some work. And we also think that there needs to be some more aggressive stakeholdering with the industries to make sure that this is done the right way. And with that, I stand for questions.
Members, any questions? Yes.
Madam Chair, Mr. Sparling, there's a note here I'd like to just get your take on. So businesses that sell legal paraphernalia, hemp, and CBD products will not be allowed to market their legal products without authorization from the dispensaries. Can you just kind of elaborate on that piece and just explain to us the authorization you'd need from dispensaries?
Absolutely, Madam Chair,
Yes,
Representative.
please.
As it stands, basically the marijuana market has a specific licensing structure. This licensing structure, as it stands with existing Arizona law, does not apply to other markets such as industrial hemp or hemp-derived consumable products. This bill would have the effect of drawing those products within that licensing scheme and then within exclusive control of the dispensary organizations. It would also allow them to draw those collateral products, including textiles, rope, et cetera, into an already frankly dysfunctional licensing scheme that we have problems with. And so we have concerns about that.
Thank you.
Other questions? All right, next speaker.
Thank you.
Jason Horn.
Thank you, Madam Chair and committee or members of the committee. My name is Jason Horn. I'm a business owner in Arizona. I'm also a cannabis industry professional. I host a podcast of Arizona cannabis and one of the state's independent journalists on this topic. Fully aware of cannabis here in Arizona and involved firsthand as well, not only covering it. I read through HB2179 thoroughly and wanted to voice my disapproval. This bill is arbitrary to a lot of the sense. There's a lot of things that are already in this bill that are in place to protect the kids, such as billboards. And I, in fact, couldn't open up my smoke shop unless I was a certain distance away from schools and things like that. My concern over this is that it says paraphernalia in it. I own smoke shops out here, and for the past 30 years, we have been regulated by the state of Arizona to make sure that we aren't selling to children. I believe that taxpayers have put in place government assistance to make sure that smoke shops and other places aren't selling to minors. I feel that this would, limit our small business. Currently, as spoken here already, our license is controlled by a small group of people right now. It is funneling money out of the state of Arizona. Majority of the revenue that cannabis is generating gets funneled out of the state through multi-state operations. Our smoke shops are small businesses owned by residents of Arizona, employing citizens of Arizona. If you took this bill and passed it, it would effectively shut down, smoke shops from promoting their products. I've spoken to, as I said prior, I've spoken to cannabis businesses that are against this bill. I've spoken to producers of cannabis that are against this bill. I've spoken to, citizens of Arizona. It doesn't seem that this bill is being sponsored by anybody that has a lot of awareness of cannabis.
Sir, that bill is being sponsored by me. Are you questioning my knowledge of cannabis as a nurse of, well, I hate to tell you how many years?
I guess so, yes.
Okay,
I'm
well,
questioning,
we'll talk.
there's a lot of things that I question about the health and safety of the state, for sure. And, I'm saying that what I've seen from the cannabis licensed industry thus far in Arizona and how poorly it's ran, I would be nervous that this would close a bunch of small businesses, and with the terms of promoting being one of them, how would we promote our products? How would I promote gatherings in the licensed community? you guys have put a lot of regulations, sorry, a little nervous obviously, but you put a lot of regulations on cannabis because of the not wanting to promote to kids, but what you've done also is put a lot of patients in harm's way when you change the names of some of these products, because cannabis is a medicine. The medical benefits from cannabis are in the details, and if a person can't go and find the cannabis that they have researched that works for them, because in the state we have to change the name. I mean, imagine if, you know, a person was going to get a regulated product and they couldn't get the actual name of that medicine, what trust would they have? So I wanted to come and speak on this and say, please do not support this bill. And if with that, I can answer any questions.
Members, any questions? Hearing none. Yes.
Thank you. Quick question, just for clarification or understanding from my part. So when you say a lot of business owners like yourself are against this bill, it's not necessarily that you're against the portion of we can't use cartoon characters or Santa Claus or fictional. It's that it will, I'm going to say something, and then the question is really what will it do, but will it inhibit or prohibit a larger variety of ways that you're able to advertise just your business in general, or what specifically are they against?
Well, I feel that the use, just the, in general, it being paraphernalia in terms for cannabis, without having to be connected to a licensed facility in Arizona, I won't even be able to technically have it on the shelves. What would we be advertising it for? It sounds like we would go back in time and we'd say, oh, it's for tobacco. You know, this is for, you know, those types of products, which we've done before, but I've always felt that smoke shops in Arizona have curated cannabis use. We were a felony for a seed for a very long time, and you know, if it wasn't for smoke shops and you know, people that put their lives on the line for cannabis, we wouldn't be generating as much funds for the state of Arizona at this time. We've sort of been kicked to the side, obviously, because we didn't rally in the right time, but yeah, I feel like it would effectively shut down my ability to advertise my business products in a legitimate intent.
Thank you.
Other questions? All right.
Madam
Vice
Chair, I'm sorry.
We're moving.
It's okay, I know we want to get out of here. Mr. Horn, are you selling cannabis at a smoke shop? Because I understand that that's not where cannabis is supposed to be sold.
Right, no, right now we are not selling any cannabis at the smoke shops that I'm in control of. You know, there are hemp that I know we didn't want to discuss on here. But at this time, any regulated cannabis that is to be sold through a licensed, through state of Arizona is not being sold at smoke shops.
But you're selling
Paraphernalia, so,
Oh, but at some smoke shops, they're selling CBD laced or things with CBD medical.
yes,
Mr. Horn.
I believe it's a 2018 farmer's market bill, it could be 19, legalized hemp and other forms of cannabis that can be sold through retail outlets. We saw recently, what was it, Bevmo or another large chain start selling hemp beverages and whatnot. So there are forms of cannabis being sold through smoke shops. The licensed cannabis that we're speaking on through this bill is not. So.
Madam Chair, maybe a
Yes,
question for you.
please.
Does this take care of the CBD being sold essentially over the counter at these smoke shops, at the beverage grocery stores, things like that?
To that point, Representative Contreras, I was approached by that, and I said, that's a whole nother bill in itself. This is for advertising to children for, and I can reread my introduction, for marijuana products containing THC, intoxicating cannabinoids, and marijuana paraphernalia to protect Arizona children. So
So
it does not touch,
So the dispensaries,
right,
okay. thank you.
correct, the dispensaries. Other questions? I saw Representative Gress had a hand.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. Sir, Are you worried that you won't be able to sell marijuana paraphernalia at your store if this bill were to pass?
Yes, sir.
Madam Chair?
Yes, please.
What if we subjected you to the same regulations then as we would be subjecting the marijuana establishments or nonprofit medical marijuana dispensaries?
Mr. Horn?
Would you be okay with that?
Absolutely. If you would include smoke shops within the terminology of this and we could be included, I think that I would be all for that. It's more so I'm concerned that the license market will force us out.
Madam Chair?
Yeah, please proceed.
Just to be clear, so you'd be okay with all of these stipulations just so that you can sell marijuana paraphernalia? And maybe you don't agree with some of these stipulations. They're likely going to become law, I think, because I just don't think we should be having cartoons advertising marijuana to kids. But just to be clear, if we allowed you to sell marijuana paraphernalia, but also subject you to these regulations, you would accept that?
Mr. Horn?
100% yes.
Okay, thank you.
Anyone else? All right, Vice Chair, next speaker.
Thank you.
Shannon Whitaker.
Good afternoon, Shannon Whitaker. I'm here representing my client, the Hemp Industry Trade Association. And we are respectfully in opposition, but we've had a conversation just recently with the stakeholders of this group and might be preparing a potential floor amendment for this bill that addresses my client's concerns, but I don't want to take up anybody else's time on this bill. I think the last speaker was able to point you in a lot of different directions that we might have to clear up towards the end of this conversation. So feel free to reach out to me, and I'm here for any questions. But again, I don't want to take up anyone's time on this. Sorry, I've been feeling a little ill today.
Oh, members, burning questions. Yes.
Chair. Thank you, Madam Chair. Thank you, Ms. Whitaker. So hemp is not like specifically outlined in the bill, but can you just talk about how there's a through line to your industry?
Yeah, Madam Chair, Representative Liguori, thank you for the question. And that's really what we discussed earlier prior to the committee with the other stakeholders. There is some language in here that does wrap in, I don't want to say rope in because it's rope, not dope, some of that hemp language that if we don't clear up with the stakeholders, then it could inadvertently include hemp within the Marijuana Act. So that's something that we definitely don't want to see. But again, I think there's a good faith effort here to really do something well and protect the children, and really appreciate the Madam Chair's bill and bringing it forward. Just want to see those little pieces kind of cleared up and the technical pieces, T's crossed, I's dotted.
All right, anyone else? All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
And Vice Chair, we have one more speaker.
Pele Fisher.
Hi, Pele Peacock Fisher on behalf of the Arizona Dispensaries Association. For the record, I want to thank the bill sponsor and the proponents for working with us as we work to clarify the provisions to make it crystal clear of what is and isn't advertising to kids. The Arizona Dispensaries Association strongly supports protecting children from exposure to marijuana and advertising to marijuana. There's a lot of existing regulations, and we're happy to come back and be here to clarify them, so we make sure that we're capturing all of those issues. Happy to answer any questions. We are working through a couple small provisions that we hope to see a floor amendment on, but we're working collaborative with everybody and here to answer any questions.
Members, any questions? Representative Gress.
Yes, thank you, Madam Chair. Why should the dispensaries be the only ones that sell marijuana paraphernalia? And I hate to just get into this conversation. I've never smoked anything in my life. I don't like marijuana. I voted against 207. I don't like medical marijuana. So I know the normal people are upset with me. I do not like any of this. That being said, the voters have made it legal in the state, and now we have a responsibility to regulate it. Why should you be the only ones that get to sell marijuana paraphernalia?
Madam Chairman, Representative Gress, that, just to clear the record, what the bill says is advertising of paraphernalia.
Madam Chair,
Yes, please.
the way I read it, line 8 says only a marijuana establishment or nonprofit medical marijuana dispensary may market, promote, sponsor, advertise, or authorize. Some people could interpret market as selling these marijuana paraphernalia.
Madam Chairman, Representative Gress, I defer to the sponsor, but we can work on that language. I believe the intent, and this is not the bill I'm running, is the advertising. I think you saw Dr. Kirkless's ad that had Santa with a bong. I want to clear the record that smoke shops are not licensed and not regulated. And so in order to stop that type of advertising, there needs to be a restriction on it. I believe that's why the provision was put into the bill, because of advertisements like that. The point is not, I don't even think dispensaries sell that much paraphernalia. The point is not to restrict who sells it, it's to get at the heart of advertising to kids. And when you have an unregulated entity that's advertising to kids, you have to figure out a way to restrict it. I believe the sponsor put that provision in to make sure that those types of ads don't go forward. I'm sure we can bring it up with stakeholders to make sure that it has to do with the advertising and not the selling.
Madam Chair,
Yes.
but if I'm selling paraphernalia, no, I'm not selling. For the sake of this.
That's going to be clipped.
If a shop that is not a dispensary is selling paraphernalia, they wouldn't be able to advertise it at all. They wouldn't even be able to put up a poster of a picture of whatever this paraphernalia is in their shop. Is that true?
Madam Chairman, Representative Grass, again, I think we could tweak that language. I think or we can talk about it. I mean, you just brought up the point, if these places were regulated, then we could have restrictions on how they advertise or not. But right now, they're not licensed or regulated, so there's no way to restrict what they advertise or not, or to go after them if or to give the AG jurisdiction if they're advertising to kids. So there is a loophole that we need to figure out. We're happy to continue talking about this. We've been at the table to make sure people aren't advertising to kids, and that's the purpose.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
Any other questions? All right, thank you. And that completes our speakers. Members, any final discussion? Oh, yes, Mr. Taylor.
Was here for a couple hours.
Wouldn't miss you.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Members, my name is Jeff Taylor, and I have several clients aligned. They're on the RTS system. I'll be representing MatForce, which is a youth drug education and prevention, very effective up in Yavapai County. And really what's been said has been said. I would caution Mr. Gress on how many people are watching today when you say something like, I'm selling paraphernalia. You might have your inbox and all of a sudden his phone starts ringing off the hook. But again, just to bring this back to the intent of this bill, incidentally, it made it all the way to the final vote over in the Senate with a 3/4. This requires a 3/4 approval of the members. That's really tough to get. The only difference this year is on public transportation. I was just at Central High School where the light rail comes along Central High School, and we all have seen the advertisements that are on public transportation. And to just have this huge billboard roll up to hundreds of high school students right when they get out of school, I think is a good addition. And thank you, Madam Chair, for adding that. I think everybody in here agrees we don't want to market to children. If there are things that need to be tweaked so to not harm other businesses that are unintended, I'm sure we can work it out. And with that, I'll be happy to answer any questions.
Thank you. Any questions for Mr. Taylor? I just want to brag on MatForce because it's from our district, LD1. Can you just elaborate on that for those that aren't aware of what MatForce does?
MatForce has been in just about every school, middle school, grade school, high school in Yavapai County, in really educating youth in that when we have the challenges that are hitting our youth today with social media and all of the other pressures, and that we have cheap and powerful narcotics, the only way that I see out of this in the long term is through prevention. We used to be really good at prevention. Back in 1979, it was our highest drug use among teens. And in the next 15 years, we dropped drug use by over 60% in teens because we did prevention. Some of you may remember the Partnership for a Drug-Free America. They had the this is your brain on drugs. They had a young man talking about how he was running for the track team, and they show him running in slow motion, and then they pan away, and then a police officer is grabbing him, you know, because he's running from the police. It's a very effective campaign. When you combine that with DARE and just say no, whether you like that or not, combined, we were able to prevent teen drug use. So prevention is the key, I believe, and Matt Force is, I think that they have cloned themselves many times over. They're a small office, but they have a huge impact.
Thank you, and I knew they had data, so thank you for sharing that data. Members, any other questions for Mr. Taylor? Seeing none, thank you very much, and reminding you, I knew you were here for that reason. Thank you. All right, any other speakers? I don't think so. Members, any discussion? I'll start. So I'm seeing an amendment in my future here, and I am definitely open to what Mr. Sam Richards said about the word promote, because we'll still retain the word advertise, and at the end of the day, that's what this is all about. So any other discussion? Well, with that, Mr. Vice Chair, let's move this bill. Please move House Bill 2179.
Madam Chair, I move that House Bill 2179 be returned with a due pass recommendation.
And this time, we don't have an amendment, so we can go ahead and move the roll call vote. So members, the motion before you is that House Bill 2179 be returned with a due pass recommendation. So Secretary Shannon, please call the roll.
Representative Contreras.
Aye.
Representative Grass.
Madam Chair, may I explain my vote?
Please.
I want to thank the chair for taking up this bill once again with all of your knowledge about this industry. I also want to thank my constituent, Dr. Gary Kirklis, for continuing to beat the drum on this and how dangerous marijuana is, especially to kids. They don't need this. It's not good for their development, and we need to do all we can to protect them from from false advertising and enticing advertising. So I'm fully supportive of this, and if you want to add more regulations, let me know. I'm a big fan of that for the purposes of this particular topic. I vote aye.
Representative Hernandez. Aye. Representative Copper.
Aye.
Representative Ligori.
Madam Chair, quick explanation of vote?
Yes, please.
Okay. Appreciate all the testimony here today. I'd also like to throw it out. I'm curious why the Arizona Craft Brewers Guild is signed and opposed, so I'd love to have a conversation after this. I'll be supporting it, but I do have some questions raised to what Mr. Sperling brought up that I'd like more information on, but voting yes today in committee.
Representative Luna Nahara. Aye. Representative Mathis.
Aye.
Representative Pingarelli.
Aye.
Representative Winiger.
Madam Chair, explain my vote?
Please.
Very quickly. I appreciate the movement through, it sounds like an amendment coming and some good changes, and with that, I'll vote aye.
Representative Willoughby.
Aye.
Vice Chairman Heap.
Aye.
Chairman Bliss.
Aye. Members, by your vote of 12 ayes, 0 nays, 0 present, and 0 absent, you've given House Bill 2179 a due pass recommendation. All right. Next up to bat is House Bill 2180, Acute Care Services Pilot Program.
Madam Chair, members, House Bill 2180 extends the repeal date for the